This 2025 NASCAR Season Long Head-to-Head Picks Part 2 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code RACESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Drivers, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome to Wednesday. It is, of course, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Key, as always, is Cody Zeeb. I am Rod Villagomez. Cody, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. What, my friend, do you have planned for the day?
Yes, Rod, it is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. First of all, I just wanted to say I am very thankful for you and the show and all of our wonderful listeners that keep it going, even in the off season. Chat stays strong. Numbers stay strong. Discord stays strong. Love to see all of it. So very thankful for all of that, Rod. We have got actually Thanksgiving breakfast planned. My mom has to work in the afternoon, so we're going over to her house and doing pajamas and making pancakes and stuff like that. So just fun little morning there. We'll go home, watch some football, relax, going over to my dad's for dinner. So yeah, fun full day with family. How about you?
Yeah, the same. So I will be going over to my family friend's house who actually I met my wife right now well, we've known each other 20 years as of 2 days ago, actually. The 25th, we met on Thanksgiving of 2004 and have been together for the last 20 years. So we're celebrating 20 years of knowing each other and just about as many being together. So we're going to be at that place for Thanksgiving and celebrating with her best friend and her friend's family. And there's going to be a lot of food. There will be a lot of football, and there'll be a lot of laughs. So it's always a blast to be able to go over there and hang out and spend time with that family, and keep everybody away from this house because then I can come back and have a sanctuary from all of the craziness that happens over there.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show, right? It's nice to when people aren't coming to your house and you can just relax and you don't have to clean up. You don't have to clean up beforehand and afterhand. Yes, it's very nice.
Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy having people over, but sometimes all those big holidays, it's just nice to be able to show up, drink a little, eat a little, and then go, okay, I'll see you guys next year. This will be where we part ways. But no, to echo Cody's sentiments too, as we are on the precipice of Thanksgiving, I do want to say thank you very much. We have had a very successful season this far, and not just from the betting aspect of it, but just from a sheer number standpoint, from growing this community from where it was to where it is. Like we said before, the bosses have noticed, and we've been able to kind of parlay that into another season of this show for you guys. And I cannot think of a better way to do it. In fact, my friend or my daughter had a friend over yesterday. And so in my house, the living room and the office are sort of close together, and you can hear me out there. You can't hear anything going on out there in here, but you can hear me out there. And she had to explain to her friend, my dad hosts a podcast, which is why he's talking so much in the office to absolutely nobody. So it's always fun to be able to have that going on, and just to you guys out there to continue to allow me to talk into the ether for her friends to go, what's your dad doing back in the office?
You can't imagine what our families think, right? Because when we're talking sort of loudly and forcefully into the microphone, right? And obviously we can hear each other and we're having a conversation and the listeners can hear both of us and everything that's going on. But to them, it's a one-sided conversation, right? They can't hear you coming over or anything else. It's just dad's in there talking like a crazy person, which is maybe sort of accurate too.
100% accurate. There is no better description of it than that. All right, we're talking about Thanksgiving, but in honor of Thanksgiving, SGPN is running a massive merch sale. It's Thursday through Sunday this week. Everything, including that beautiful shirt that Cody is modeling right now, the Old-Fashioned Football Podcast. Shout out to Justin and Mara over there, holding it down each and every, and drinking fantastic old fashions from fantastic brewers. You got to go check it out. You want your own sexy shirt or a Racing Gambling Podcast shirt or a mug or sweats? I've got on the SGPN sweats over here.
Show us a little more leg, Rod.
Want a little more leg? Those are the SGP sweats that I love. I live in these things. They've got pockets. They've got ties. It's everything you want in sweats and more.
Very comfortable.
Oof. Like I said, I live in these things around the house. Promo code Black Friday. You can get yourself one of your own and take 25% off of everything that we've shown you and more. Not showing you the SGP boxers. That's kind of, that would be after
That's
dark.
for NGP after dark, Rod.
we don't convey that because I want to stay on the air.
That's the Patreon only show for later.
Ooh, actually, you gave me a great idea. Anyways, all right.
But I don't know about great idea, but
well, man, we'll leave that up to the listeners. I will say though that that you guys will have a blast with it because it's always a lot of fun to go buy some of that merch and live in it as well. All right, Cody, we are here today to discuss some head-to-head matchups we talked about yesterday on the Caesars offerings. ESPN Bet has some more different picks for us, which thank God they do, because we were like, well, we could split the other two in half or whatever, but then ESPN has like a whole bunch of different matchups for us to talk about, so we'll break those down.
Yeah, and it's nice to just sort of compare different drivers against each other for the upcoming season and have the conversation about it. So yeah, shout out to them for also having a selection and for being different than Caesars is. These are the only two books we've been able to find any head-to-head so far. I'm sure other books will be following in suit, and maybe we'll have to touch on the different matchups that we get later on in further shows, but glad we have all these options so far. So yeah, if you haven't, go back and listen to yesterday's show. You could probably listen to that after you listen to this one, or you could stop now, go back and listen if you need to listen in order, however works best for you. But we'll touch on all those matchups as well, in addition to these ones today.
Yes, sir. We talked about Tony driving the number 5 truck as part of our big news yesterday. Cody, you've already alluded to the fact that there's always a ton of news to talk about. So what loose ends do we have to tie up today that we did not get to yesterday?
Yeah, we're actually sort of almost to the end of the news that I have saved up for us, at least, Rod. But speaking of Tony Breidinger back with Tricon this season, Tanner Gray is also returning to the 15 truck for Tricon as well. So, of course, we know it'll be Corey Heim, Tanner Gray, both returning. And then Breidinger is going to come in the 5 truck. Still haven't heard anything about the 17 truck, and if they're going to continue that, obviously Taylor Gray leaving, and then we would assume we'll still see the 1 truck part-time as well. But Tanner Gray returning to that truck. We saw a lot of good things out of Tanner Gray this past season, and definitely going to be a guy that we'll be able to target and continue to place some bets on going forward.
Hey, there's one instance where younger brother gets the edge up over older brother a lot in that matchup between Tanner and Taylor, because Taylor made us all shifties like Tanner did not, as a matter of fact. So
it's that is very true. That is one of the cases where the younger brother beats out the older brother, unlike the Chargers and Raiders. Wow, Jesus, one of those R teams, Rod. The Chargers and Ravens, rather, where, again, I would like to point out that I was right and you were wrong, just because that's a lot of fun. The one other piece of news, Rod, the lineup for the TV booth has been announced for both Amazon Prime and TNT. Of course, if you don't know, the season's going to begin on Fox, and there's going to be a 10-race period where it shifts to TNT. So I think it shifts to Prime first and then TNT. Maybe it's the other way around. Either way, Fox, then Prime and TNT cover a 5-race period there, or 5 races each, so 10 races in total. They're going to have the same people on the call for both TNT and Amazon Prime, and that would be Adam Alexander as the play-by-play guy, or the race caller, as you want to maybe put it. And then the race analysts will be Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Letarte. Of course, Jr. and Letarte worked together at NBC. They've worked together as crew chief and driver previously. They have a great relationship. Steve has the show over on the Dirty Mo platform as well, of course, with Dirty Mo Doe. So they're all tied in very well. Adam Alexander, been calling the Truck Series now for the last few seasons, and we've seen him other places in the past as well. So that'll be a pretty solid TV lineup for the Amazon Prime and TNT portions of the season.
Yeah, I definitely don't hate it. I mean, obviously, I feel like there haven't been very many misses in the booth as of late. I'm trying to think of somebody that I really can't stand to have in the booth. So, I mean, I know they got rid of what's his face that they couldn't get rid of him fast enough, and they put in
Rick Allen. See, Rick Allen, Nebraska guy, went to the University of Nebraska, called races here at Eagle Raceway locally. So I do have a soft spot for Rick Allen, and I love him. Unfortunately, he is no longer at NBC. But yeah, I think that overall we've got some really, really good race play-by-play people. And the analysts are good. Obviously, Dale Jr. is great at everything he does. Steve Letarte really does the crew chief and strategy portion of things. I mean, he can break that down extremely well. So I always really greatly appreciate, what he has to contribute. And he's going to remain with NBC as well. So we're going to get Steve Letarte for a majority of the season, because after those, he'll continue to be on the NBC broadcasts. And then I believe Adam Alexander is still going to be with Fox on the truck portion of things too. So still going to get plenty of both of those guys throughout the season, but pretty solid lineup for Prime and TNT, I believe.
I agree. That is, of course, the races that I get a chance to actually listen to. Sometimes I don't get a chance to listen to races. I have to watch and provide my own play-by-play and color commentating up in my head, which, by the way, I'm very good at up in my head. So I'll just have you know, I don't know that it translates out to the world, but I know that up here, I'm a solid guy in that aspect. All right. Well then, Cody, I believe that covers the last of what we should probably talk about in the news. Let's start breaking down some more of these head-to-head matchups, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. But first, let's get to our Underdog Fantasy. We're going to tell you about some Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all of sports: NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, Formula One, and more. You can now use specials and boost on all of your flexed entries. Going to use mine. F1 races coming up in a very, very short while. Max Verstappen, whatever his finishing position is, whatever his predicted finishing position, I'm taking the lower than, unless it's like 5 or 8, but I don't see it being like that. It should be probably 3 or probably 2.5. So I'm going to take the lower than in that instance because, I mean, you're going to listen to the F1 Gambling Podcast after this, and I'm going to tell you why that I think that's going to happen. In the meantime, though, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. You're going to get a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code RACESGPN. Like we said, Cody, ESPN Bet giving us a whole slew of other matchups. If you are inclined, go back, and if you haven't already, listen to our head-to-head picks in the first episode where we gave you all of Caesar's lineups. So thankfully, like we said, ESPN's giving us some different ones. So we are going to break those down for you. And they begin, Cody, with Alex Bowman and Brad Keselowski paired up. Now, we talked about the fact that Caesars was giving us some pretty even odds on these ones, but minus 115 were like the first couple of ones on either side of it. Then there's a couple that were a little bit juiced. This, on the other hand, they're swinging for the fences already. Alex Bowman minus 125 in this one. Brad Keselowski minus 105 on this one. I already know where you're heading. Most of the listeners that listened yesterday know where you're heading, but if they haven't, Cody, where are you heading?
So I will say, yesterday we had Alex Bowman versus Chris Buescher. Of course, I made the argument for the Chris Buescher side of things. I think that this one is a little closer than that one is. Translate that out to if you had Buescher versus Keselowski, I would take the Buescher side of things. But as you know, I'm big on RFK this offseason, Rod. Big on Brad Keselowski. I think that this is definitely a tougher one to bet. If I was going to bet it, I would bet the Brad Keselowski side of minus 105. I definitely could not bet Alex Bowman in this head-to-head at minus 125. If it was more even, I think I could listen to the Bowman case and side of things more. But, man, I really am all in on this RFK team, and I think that Keselowski is going to have himself a strong season. You could consider I think that everybody probably would agree, sort of a down season for RFK, down season for Brad, but he only finished a couple of spots right behind Alex Bowman this season. And then you're getting him at a lot better of a number here than you're getting Bowman at when he was, 4 spots behind him in the standings this past season. So, yeah, give me Brad Keselowski over Alex Bowman at -105.
Yeah, I'm taking the Alex.
Hold on a second. I just read the fine print on this, Rod.
What's the fine print?
These are regular season matchups on
they're
ESPN.
not.
So this is completely whoa, back. Beep, beep. We got to start this whole fucking thing over because hopefully the show we did yesterday wasn't for nothing. No, those were championship standings.
Those are championship
standings. So yesterday on Caesars, of course, we explained all the rules and everything. But yeah, I just realized, Rod, that it does say regular season matchups, which sort of a different twist. I like this even more, actually. So this is going to be more of a case of who has a more consistent regular season than just wins. Wins definitely plays a part, obviously, because you get more points, but who's going to finish better in the regular season standings between these guys? I think that completely changes the conversation over, who can have better end of the season things. So rethinking through that lens, Rod, boy, I think that makes it harder. And I don't know if it should make it harder.
Well, I'll tell you, while your wheels readjust,
I'm trying to process, Rob.
My answer would
recalibrating. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep.
You're like the Google Maps, just trying to
rerouting. Every time you're like, I'm not going that fucking way, and then she's like, rerouting, turn right here. Rerouting, turn right here.
I know where I'm going. Shut up.
No, I'm not going that way. I already told you.
So I know where I'm going regardless. So I don't care how many times she tries to reroute me. I'm going Alex Bowman regardless of the situation. Like even if it was end of season or regular season, I made a case for him against his RFK teammate last week, and I think, or yesterday rather, and I think that argument still carries over to this one. If you look at these drivers' head-to-head standings, even at the end of the year, 2 out of the last 3 years, it's been Alex Bowman beating Brad Keselowski in the final standings altogether. Now, we talk about Alex Bowman being a rock-solid top 10 guy. I mean, that is the case, right? Alex Bowman, 17 top 10s last year, 8 top 5s and a win. Brad Keselowski, 14 top 10 finishes, 9 top 5s and a win as well. But for Alex Bowman, it's Hendrick equipment, right? Versus the RFK. I know you're higher on RFK, but I still think that the way for Alex Bowman to be a top 10 driver is a lot more clear than for Brad Keselowski at the end of the season, because if you saw it play out this year, right? I mean, Chris Buescher, I will give you, is a little harder of a sell in this instance, where I'm still taking Alex Bowman, but I had to actually think harder, because for me, Brad Keselowski, I know he's a good driver. I know he's a consistent driver. I know he can get wins. I know he can get top 5s. I know he can get top 10s. But the problem is, over the last few seasons, the could have, should have, would have's is not getting him to it there at the end. So for Alex Bowman, you can pretty much bank on him being a top 10 car at the end of the day with a few outliers. So especially regular season, I'm taking the Alex Bowman side of this at -125.
Yeah, I think after giving it more thought and recalibrating to regular season, I think I am going to take the Bowman side of this too, because he's just so consistent throughout the year. Now, how does it work? I'm trying to think, Rod, of what the regular season. I suppose the top 16 are the top 16, right?
Yeah.
Even at the technical end of the regular season, I suppose maybe double check the book before you place these, but I would think that the top 16 is the top 16, because that's where you would be at the end of the regular season. You're still in the top 16. So, but yeah, give me Alex Bowman -125. Even I still think I like this, because I do see Brad getting into the playoffs, and I think that he's got that higher ceiling that we talked about. But Bowman, we know, right? How many times did we bet on him top 10 last year? Like, you get a good number every week, and he just consistently gets it done. He's really good at the consistency part of things, and he's made the playoffs and finished in the top 16 a majority of his career with Hendrick. I think one season maybe that he hasn't at least made the playoffs. So he's consistently up there. So yeah, I'll take the Bowman side of things for the regular season. Again, if we were going into the playoffs at the end of the year, I still think I like the Keselowski side of things a little more, but give me Alex Bowman in this one.
Yep, I'm definitely with you on that one, or I should say you're with me on that one because
Right.
I was
I'm
already
with
there.
you, Rod.
We recalibrated all the way around to Alex Bowman being better than Brad Keselowski. So if you take nothing from that conversation, just take that from it as well. All right, the next matchup is Denny Hamlin minus 135, Joey Logano plus 100. Cody, we talked about this talked about this yesterday. What year is 2025?
Yeah, it's an odd year, Rod. This is being a regular season battle for this matchup's not even close. Like, I would pay minus 250 on it. Like, wouldn't you? Like, how is Joey Logano better in the regular season than Denny Hamlin? His entire shtick is he shows up in the playoffs and he does good. And Denny Hamlin's entire shtick is he does good in the regular season and sucks in the playoffs. Like, this, I don't love minus 135s on futures bets, but I don't know if you can get more comfortable than this bet. Like, to me, this just isn't even close. I can't think of really many scenarios where Joey Logano's been so good in the regular season and puts together this consistent season when Denny Hamlin's competing every season to be the regular season champion. And he's won that multiple times previously. He, probably had a good shot at winning it this past season had it not been for that late penalty with the engine deal. But yeah, I mean, Joey Logano, sure, maybe he squeaks into the playoffs somehow and finds his way to the championship and wins it, which he doesn't do in odd years anyways. But yeah, even if that were the case, even if this was an even year, how does he beat him in the regular season? I just don't, I don't see that happening by really any shot. So yeah, give me Denny, even at minus 135. This is the easiest head-to-head of everything we've talked about so far, in my opinion, because of the fact that it is a regular season matchup.
Well, and to your point, even if you look at this year, when Joey Logano wins the whole thing at the end of the regular season, Denny Hamlin was sitting in 7th, Joey Logano was sitting in 15th. So
with that big penalty, even Joey Logano or Denny Hamlin way above Joey Logano. So yeah, I just the regular season caveat on this makes this not even close.
Yeah, because even when they reseeded it for the playoffs, it was still Denny Hamlin in 6th and Joey Logano in 9th. So, yeah, I mean, this is a no-brainer. This is definitely a Denny Hamlin. And, I mean, I made the point yesterday about when you look at just the overall standings for Joey Logano when it's not an even year. In 2023, he finished 12th. In 2021, he finished 8th. 2019, a respectable 5th, but 2017, a 17th place finish. So, whereas Denny Hamlin, I mean, you look at his final standings of the season since let's go all the way back to 2014. Actually, you know what? No, because if you look at overall in his entire career, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4 instances in which he's not finished inside of the top 10 at the end of the season proper. That's after championship standings, everything. A 23rd place finish in 2013, a 12th place finish in 2017. A 41st place finish in 2005, and then 2018 he had 11th place finish too. So but other than that, they've all been top 10 finishes for Denny Hamlin. No, regardless of what year it was, even odd, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's a consistently top 10 finishing driver at the end of the season, no matter what points format you go under. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be Denny Hamlin for me as well, even at minus 135.
Yeah, it's, again, you don't love that number on a future, but you only pay the juice if you lose, Rod. And I just don't see many scenarios where you're going to lose this one.
Yeah, again, I mean, it's just so difficult to try to back Logano on an odd year that I don't even think you could try to make the case for him on an odd year. So not going to do it. Give us Denny Hamlin, both of us on this one. For this matchup. All right, we'll continue down the line of the matchups, but I want to first take this opportunity to tell you about MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie. MyBookie.ag has been running on SGPN for years. You can check out their new and improved website, which looks great on mobile, by the way, plus props for every game and live dealer casino. Even new early cash out options are available for you as well. Looking at the Formula One race coming up, my bookie's giving me Lewis Hamilton at plus 550 to win in Qatar this weekend. I like that. I like Lewis to be the other guy to win. He's the only other guy that's won on this track other than Max Verstappen. So give me him. You can head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code rate or SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered bet sporting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. You can build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. Now you can track props in the Rhythm app. You got NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, NBA. Rhythm has got it all. Try to build my model right now. How many yards Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get on Thanksgiving. I want to be able to look smart in front of my family, so I'm going to have Rhythm build me a model so I can figure out which side of the prop to be on there for Jahmyr Gibbs. Probably going to be the over. I'm hoping Rhythm backs me up on that one. So claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Love Jahmyr Gibbs. That dude is just running amok all over the place. So, yes, give me the
Yeah, and with Montgomery potentially going to be out, yeah, that's going to make Gibbs have an even better day, Rod.
Blow up the model. It's going to be whatever the number is. We're going way over that one. So, all right, the next matchup on this list. It's a repeat that we talked about yesterday. Do we even go through it again?
Yes, because this is the regular season twist.
Yeah, there you go. So it's Kyle Larson minus 140, Christopher Bell plus 105.
Which I think explains the pricing difference, right? Because yesterday on Caesars, the season long is minus 120 for Larson, minus 110 for Bell. Now you're moving it up to minus 140 for Larson, plus 105 for Christopher Bell. I think that it's a lot harder to take a minus 140 in this scenario because we know just how good Christopher Bell can be. And we know that Kyle Larson, as great as he can be, also has a lot of issues and doesn't finish races, and that can hurt the points racing part of things, right? That being said, if I'm just picking these guys straight up head to head, it's the Kyle Larson side of things. Because again, it's Kyle Larson, and what he does is absolutely incredible. Probably a lot of seasons, if you're under the old points format, Kyle Larson's going to be one of the better guys because he is just so good. So I think that I definitely would pick Kyle Larson here, but I'm not going to bet him at this number.
So if you look, obviously, this season, Kyle Larson finishing 1 point outside of the regular season championship from Tyler Reddick.
1 point that he would have had if he started the Coke 600.
Just started the Coke 600. It wouldn't even have mattered. So, Christopher Bell finishing 77 points behind in fourth place. We know Christopher Bell can make the Final Four. We know he can. We know he can make the playoffs. We know he can do all that great stuff. But the one thing he hasn't been able to do is finish at the top or close to the top of the regular season standings enough to where I think he can beat a Kyle Larson. So minus 140 is a giant pill to swallow, but it's one that I think, Kyle Larson's going to always be in that regular season championship conversation. He just is. That's where he's going to be each and every year. And so I think when it comes down to it, can Christopher Bell climb up into that? I don't know. And especially this year, I don't think so. I think Kyle Larson is going to be hungry and pissed off that he missed out on it last year. And we're not going to see the mercy that he had in that Coke 600 missing that.
Yeah, well, I think Bell certainly could because I think that he is a great driver. But also, like, part of the Bell thing is the being clutch in the playoffs and really showing up then. And we just haven't seen him put together that regular season championship season yet. Now, if he comes out this season and does it, I won't be shocked by any means. But also, I'm not going to take him against Kyle Larson head to head because it's Kyle Larson again. Like back to the point of it's Kyle Larson. Sometimes that's all the argument you need, right? So yeah, this one is actually I know I said yesterday we are going to be making picks, Rod. This one is a no bet for me. But if I have to make a pick, it is the Kyle Larson pick side of it, I suppose.
Yeah, keep an eye on this one. If the line moves at all, then yeah, I would pounce on the Kyle Larson one as all. That's my pick for this one too. All right, my amend tour started to pick up some steam yesterday in this one for Ty Gibbs.
Into an issue now, hasn't it, Rob?
Yep, we kind of have now because we're talking regular season. This is Ty Gibbs minus 135, Ross Chastain at plus 100, even money, or it's a tough one because I already talked about the highs and the lows of a Ross Chastain season versus the Ty Gibbs potential for 2025. So, Cody,
I mean, yeah, like the easiest thing to do is look at 2024 here, and neither guy won a race in the regular season. Ty Gibbs made the playoffs, and Ross Chastain didn't. So, putting them head to head right there, already edge to Ty Gibbs. JGR versus Trackhouse. That's a pretty big edge to Gibbs. You were making the argument yesterday that Gibbs is the second driver of JGR. It's an even bigger argument towards the Gibbs side of things, right? He's reaching that 100 race threshold where things really start to turn around for the very talented guys. I think we're about to see that. I think he's got multiple wins in store this season. I don't even care about minus 135, Rod. Give me Ty Gibbs over Ross Chastain in the regular season next year.
Yeah, I mean, in the regular season for sure, because again, maybe Ty does pick up his first win of the season. Maybe Ty picks up 2 wins next year, and like you said, sort of breaks that ceiling and gets through for a few wins. Whereas Ross Chastain, if you didn't listen to yesterday's episode, look, I love Ross Chastain. We know Ross Chastain can win. We know Ross Chastain can win at championship tracks, right? But what we've seen more often than not, especially last season, is that there's so much for Ross Chastain to overcome when it comes to himself. Like, he will find himself in bad situations. He'll push bad situations. He will finish races lower than he should have because he's an aggressive driver, and that works out for him until it doesn't. And unfortunately, when you're trying to be a consistent driver in the championship, you can't continue to do things like that and expect it to pay out for you each and every time you do it, right? So for Ross Chastain, if he wants to be considered a championship caliber driver each and every season, he's going to have to learn how to sometimes play the middle. And, the Hail Melon, for as great of a soundbite, for as great of a clip as it is, and for a great memory for all of us race fans that were watching it at the time, what did it come out to? And honestly, since then, what has really happened other than him winning at Phoenix, right? I mean, there's just not a lot to be super proud of if you're Ross Chastain when it comes to wanting to get to the next level and stay there, honestly. So, yeah, this is Ty Gibbs in the regular season. I wouldn't be surprised if Ross Chastain does it. I also won't be surprised if Ross Chastain doesn't do it. So, yeah, give me Ty Gibbs in this matchup too.
Won't be surprised if Ross Chastain doesn't. I won't either, Rod.
Hey, listen, man, it's almost Thanksgiving. I already have my head on some turkey and mashed potatoes. So Ross Chastain breaking watermelons is sort of, getting to my head too. But all right, next one up is Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott. This one is a very, very close battle. Tyler Reddick minus 130.
Not according to the books, Rod.
That's true though. But okay. Tyler Reddick minus 130, Chase Elliott at even money. So, Cody, I mean, I know where your head's leaning.
Oh, this is tearing at my heartstrings, Rod. This is my favorite driver versus my sort of new favorite driver, right? I think that this one is, as you sort of alluded to at the beginning of your start there, is really close. I think it's closer than one should be minus 130 and one should be even money. So by that case, the default goes to you bet the guy with even money, and that's Chase Elliott. I think this one is a really close matchup. Obviously, Reddick is the regular season champion from 2024, so take that into consideration. But Chase Elliott's been one of the most consistent drivers in the garage. There's something to be said for that. And if he parlays that into some wins and stuff, continuing off of the, getting farther away from that leg injury and all of that stuff, he could easily be in the battle for this regular season title fight, and he was until the last couple of races where he sort of just fell a little bit behind this past season to Tyler Reddick. Well, I think that Reddick continues to be strong and great going forward. Also, Chase Elliott is right there as 2 or 3 at Hendrick in a good car, and it shouldn't be this lopsided. Now, you put them both at even money, you put them both at -115. Maybe it's a different conversation. I still think it's really close. I might lean a little more towards Reddick there, but this big of a difference in the number as far as betting goes, it's got to be the Chase Elliott side at even money, in my opinion.
Well, and so you have to ask yourself the question, because Tyler Reddick obviously did win the regular season championship this last season, and Chase Elliott finishes in 3rd. So do you think that Tyler Reddick can once again put himself in a position to battle for a regular season championship? And if not, does he crack the top 5? And we saw the stars align for Tyler Reddick this year. We saw him charge his way and really do a bang up job. But I mean, you also saw Kyle Larson not start the Coke 600. You saw Chase Elliott slip a couple of times. So if that doesn't happen, then we're having a little bit of a different conversation, because Chase Elliott finished 29 points behind Tyler Reddick. It was a close battle there too. So for me, I am going to take the Chase Elliott side of this, especially at even money, because I feel like that's the better side to land on. And if Tyler Reddick beats me, Tyler Reddick beats me. I don't want to pay the juice in this instance at -130 for an opportunity for Chase Elliott to figure it out this year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Man, I got to hit that mute button a lot faster. All right. Last matchup on this card for ESPN Bet, and the last matchup for the week of this show. William Byron taking on Ryan Blaney. -110 for William Byron, -120 for Ryan Blaney. We know Ryan Blaney was a hair's breadth away from winning the whole thing this year, but it was even year, so Joey Logano could not be denied. Ryan Blaney finishing in 6th place this season in the regular season. William Byron finishing in 5th. So this is a head-to-head matchup that the books paid attention to the matchups and are giving us a close one again.
Yeah, and this one really does seem like a pretty much a toss-up. I mean, both of these guys, young drivers, have really burst on the scene lately, both in strong teams. In a general sense, it seems like Chevrolet, like Hendrick and especially William Byron, start the season off stronger. Ford seems to come along a little bit later. Obviously, we know what they can do in the fucking playoffs as we continue to see it, right? 3 seasons in a row of winning the title. So I think that maybe makes you lean towards Byron a little bit. But you look, and Blaney was right there. They were neck and neck, obviously, as you mentioned. So I think it really is sort of a true coin flip. I think early in the season, we're going to see William Byron come out hot. Everything's going to shift to, oh my God, William Byron, here we go again. And then it's going to cool off in the summer months, and that's when Ryan Blaney starts to pick up and get hot. I think that's going to be enough to propel him over William Byron. Just going to be a spot or two. I think these guys will be very close at the end of the day, but I will take the Ryan Blaney side of this at -120. I think the books have it right. Blaney has just a slight edge over William Byron.
I know it's boring, but I 1,000% agree with you on this one, because I talked about Ryan Blaney yesterday rather. I mean, he's finished 1st or 2nd in the championship playoffs altogether in the last couple of seasons. And he's a lot like William Byron in that he's not the splashy guy. He's not going to be on every billboard. You're not going to see commercials with him every single day doing all kinds of crazy things. Like, these guys are just race car drivers that go out, do their job, are highly successful at it. And by the end of the day, you're like, oh, shit, I can't. Yeah, William Byron's actually doing something. Ryan Blaney's actually competing for something. Why haven't I seen these guys all season? When the truth of the matter is, you've seen them all season. You're just not paying attention because they're not doing outlandishly crazy things to make themselves noticed on a week-to-week basis. They're just going out, finishing top 5, finishing top 10. They'll win 5 or 6 races here and there, but you'll forget which races that they won because the Kyle Larsons of the world soak up all of the energy. The big splashy names get all of the attention, and yet these guys are just consistent and they're doing what they do. So I do like Ryan Blaney -120. I do like that it's not highly juiced in. If this were a playoff matchup, I would still take Ryan Blaney over William Byron.
Oh, you have to at that point, because Ryan Blaney's has shown in the playoffs that that's his thing. But yeah, I think that we're both on Blaney's side, and I agree with you.
Yeah, it's boring, but we're here to win you money, not to argue every single day.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, Cody, we've reached the end of this episode, and of course this week as we gear on toward Thanksgiving. We try to give you guys a couple of days to sleep off the turkey and enjoy the rest of your weekend, so you don't have to worry about us until next week. But yeah, buddy, this has been a lot of fun, and I want to know what's one. Other than going to your mom's for breakfast, what's one Thanksgiving thing that most people don't do? Like, what's one thing that you do that you don't think other people do out there for Thanksgiving?
Well, in general, and this is the first year we're sort of doing breakfast just because of mom's work schedule, but generally we go to mom's house on Thanksgiving and have pizza, which is not a very popular Thanksgiving Day tradition, right? It's all the turkey and ham. But yeah, she's like to just make it easy, and then we don't have people slaving away in the kitchen. Like, have some pizza, and we all sit down and watch football and just enjoy being together and stuff. So yeah, in a general year, that is something that we do that's definitely completely different. And I would say breakfast on Thanksgiving probably a little different than a lot of people too. So mom likes to keep it different, which is always fun.
I love that because again, that when you think back on your childhood and you think back on things that you do, it's not the same things that you do it's the different things that you do that make it stand out. I know for us, I miss my grandma so much. We used to do tamales all the time. That's not necessarily a traditional Thanksgiving meal for most people, but for us over here, tamales for Christmas, tamales for Thanksgiving. This whole holiday season just screams tamales, and I miss it so much. My neighbor, God bless her, she definitely she will give us some. So I love that. I still have that home feeling, even though it's not necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. Good. There you go.
But all right, yes. So to all of you out there, happy Thanksgiving. We hope you enjoy your family, your friends, whatever it is you do out there, or even if you don't do anything and you just stay home, enjoy that too, because there's something to be said about just making your day
Absolutely
off.
nothing wrong with that.
No, sir. But yeah, we love you all. We're thankful for all of you and for the opportunity to continue to do this show over the off season, like Cody said, or just in general. We're thankful for it. We're thankful for you. And we want you to all to enjoy your holiday season, Cody. So let's send them off in a way fitting of this show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, thank you to all of you guys. We're very grateful for you listening and continuing to support the show. Means a lot. So yeah, hope you all have wonderful Thanksgiving weekend, however long you celebrate and everything you do. Enjoy it. Enjoy family or whatever or not being around family, whatever's better for you and your situation.
You can be thankful for not being around family.
Yeah.
That's
how it goes at times.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
Yeah. So yes. Anyways, Rod, in the meantime, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can find all of my stuff over there. Go back, check out the F1 Gambling Podcast earlier this week. That's racing that you can bet on this great holiday weekend. So yeah, enjoy that as well. And we'll be back next week. 3 more shows next week and plenty more stuff to talk about. So we'll see you guys all then.
Yes, indeed. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the about everything I got going on, whether it's here, got some first touchdown stuff and some actual player prop picks for your weekend over on Sportsbook Review. And then, of course, look, I'm putting up more and more stuff on this fun site that I've got going on. Diving deeper into the books than you probably ever dove in your life. I just hit an esports outright the other day. We're going to have some more F1 DraftKings DFS stuff on there as well. So go make sure you're following that. The link is in there as well. All right. Love you all. Thankful for you all. Enjoy the turkey or whatever it is you eat, and we'll see you next week. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.